I want to talk about screening tests today. I want to urge everybody listening to get that trilogy of books, Let's Play Doctor, Let's Play Herbal Doctor, and the Passport to Aromatherapy. Of course, they teach you how to deal with over 900 different diseases using vitamins and minerals and trace minerals and rare earths, amino acids, fatty acids, herbs, and aromatherapy. Also, it's a trilogy of books, Let's Play Doctor, Let's Play Herbal Doctor, and the Passport to Aromatherapy. But Let's Play Doctor has a whole section in it on how to look at data gotten from blood tests and urine tests and biopsies and x-rays and ultrasounds and parasitology and bacteria, viruses, all that kind of stuff. Teaches you to know more about that than your doctor, okay? That's the book, Let's Play Doctor. That one has all that. It's not repeated anyplace else because why repeat it? You just need it in one book, okay? Now, doctors push a test to prevent disease. These nonprofit agencies like the American Cancer Association, Susan G. Coleman's group, they all push tests to prevent cancer. Well, guess what? There's not a single screening test out there that prevents cancer, diabetes, osteoporosis, heart disease. They'll catch the disease earlier sometimes, but doctors always want to push what they do, right? I mean, that's what doctors do. They want to get you into the ATM machine. Well, a headline in the Star Tribune out of Minneapolis says, for the first time, colonoscopy proven to be a lifesaver. Major study showed that the screening cut death rate from colorectal cancer by 53%. Well, that's a pretty good headline. But you start reading down in the article, here it comes. Here it comes. Colorectal tumors are a major cause of U.S. cancer death and one of the few cancers that can be prevented with screening. See, there's the lie. It cannot be prevented by screening. This says, this year, more than 143,000 new cases and 51,000 deaths are expected. Incidence and death rates, here it comes, incident and death rates have been declining for about 20 years, probably because of increased screening and better treatments. Probably because of increased screening. Now, if a chiropractor, a naturopathic doctor, or an herbalist would say, oh, we can cure cancer, or we've shown we've cured cancer probably because, they would be eaten alive by the medical profession. What do you mean probably? We only believe in evidence-based discoveries and science. Well, they're using the word probably. Well, I'm going to take you back to a guy by the name of Dr. Clark, Dr. Larry Clark. And Dr. Larry Clark died at age, I believe it was 51, from prostate cancer treatment. Dr. Clark was an MD, PhD at the University of Arizona School of Medicine, and he did a study. It was a 7-year study. It was only 7 years, but he did a study on giving 200 micrograms of selenium, 1/5 of a milligram of selenium, the trace mineral selenium, to 1,300 seniors. At the end of the study, what he showed was that the 200 micrograms of selenium reduced the occurrence, not the risk, reduced the occurrence of prostate cancer by 69%, colorectal cancer by 64%, lung cancer by 39%, whether you smoked or not. Reduced the occurrence in his 1,300-person study over a 7-year period. Now, it was a randomized, in the article, it said it was the gold standard, randomized stuff. Now, do you think medical doctors are running around telling everybody to take 200 micrograms of selenium? No. There's not a single medical doctor doing that. And here they are in this big front-page story, big headlines, and then you get back deep into the article. It says the incidence and death rates have been declining for about 20 years, probably because of increased screening and better treatments. Well, that sucks. Here's a case where they're trying to grab the headlines because we've been working, and I sued the FDA, right, to be able to say that supplementing with selenium would reduce the risk of cancer and support the body's ability to manufacture anti-cancer substances. I don't see any of that in there. And basically what they're trying to say is, oh, the rate of people going for colonoscopic exams is down now, and so we want to take credit for people taking selenium, any selenium off the shelf, any selenium in your grocery store, the pharmacy. Any selenium will reduce your risk of prostate cancer, colorectal cancer. No, reduce the occurrence, according to Larry Clark, MD, PhD, University of Arizona. And he actually was very skeptical, and he set it up as a randomized double-blind study to prove that selenium had nothing to do with reducing the risk or reducing the occurrence of cancer. And he was shocked, and then he died because he didn't take any selenium. Okay? Reduced the risk, 7-year study, 7 years only. Reduced the occurrence of prostate cancer by 69%, double-blind randomized study. Reduced the occurrence of colorectal cancer by 64% and lung cancer whether or not you smoke. And here they are trying to grab credit for it. I say they're a bunch of liars and frauds, and they're trying to grab credit for you guys out there being responsible enough to take supplements, including selenium. And so I'm going to blare this one for the next 6 years. I'm going to use this. I'm going to show this where doctors, every time they talk about evidence-based science, when we talk about nutrition, I'm going to throw this one in their face. They've thrown down the gauntlet on this. They're trying to take credit for what we've been doing, what you've been doing, supplementing with selenium, and I'm just not going to tolerate it. This has to have consequences, and we're going to go after them for probably because more screening. You got to be kidding me. Screening does not cause a reduction in occurrence of any cancer, any disease. Screening can catch it early, maybe, if the doctors are sober. We'll be back after these messages. Okay, Doug, what pearls of wisdom do you have for us?
Well, I think you'll like this Fox News story headlined, "Alcoholism Not Uncommon Among Surgeons." Now, this is something you've been talking about for quite some time. Yeah. And in this Reuters news story, they say about 15% of surgeons have an alcohol abuse or dependency problem, and they say it's higher than the rest of the population.
Researchers, did they say 15%?
Yeah, 15.
Wow.
Now, I think you have some different statistics on that, don't you?
Well, the statistics was actually by Lucian Lepay, who's the head of the Department of Public Health at Harvard Medical School, back about 7 years ago. He said that 52% of licensed doctors or medical doctors are intoxicated during their working day. 52%. And now that doesn't, who knows about surgeons, but he said 52% of licensed doctors are intoxicated on alcohol, street drugs, or prescription drugs. That was Lucian Lepay, Harvard Medical School, Department of Public Health.
Yeah, and in this most recent study that was done at the University of Washington and led by Dr. Michael Oroskovich, they say also that surgeons who showed signs of alcoholism were 45% more likely to admit that they had a major medical error in the past 3 months. Now, they also quoted another doctor who was not part of the study. He's Dr. Edward Livingston, who's kind of coming to the aid of the doctors here at the University of Texas Southwestern Medical Center. He says, surgery is a stressful business. These are people who turn to alcohol to help deal with their stress. And he goes on to say, does it affect their performance? Who knows? Well, any of us that are got a brain in our heads know there's a reason why every state in the union or in the United States has a alcohol limit for operating a motor vehicle, which is generally 0.08. And if you're drunk and you can't drive a car, what makes you think it's not going to affect your surgery skills? I mean,
yeah, if you're doing brain surgery,
yeah, that's just goofy. So they go on to say they put out a questionnaire that asks about work, lifestyle, and mood, and several other things used to screen for alcohol abuse and dependency. Say overall 15% of the surgeons showed signs of alcohol problems. Say other studies estimated that the general population is at about 9%. So there's more drunk surgeons than there are out in public. And they go on to say that the results showed that alcohol problems were linked with doctors reporting depression and burnout within various fields of medicine. Surgery is considered particularly demanding. Said about 14% of male surgeons and 25% of female surgeons showed signs of alcohol problems. They say previous studies show that stress being a surgeon and balancing professional and personal obligations were more prevalent in females than male surgeons. And they said among the 722 physicians who said they had a major medical error in the past 3 months, 77% of them scored within the range of having alcohol problems. And they sent out 25,000 of these questionnaires, and only about 7,200 surgeons replied to it. This was all reported in the archives of surgery.
Only 10% responded.
Yeah, only 10% responded.
And that result sucks then.
Well, yeah, and they say that the lead researcher here, this Oroskovich, says it's possible that the percent of surgeons with alcoholism alcoholism is underestimated in the study because I think the folks who are less likely to respond may have shame and guilt and fear associated with their alcohol abuse and dependency, and they don't want it to report to anybody. So I would agree with that there's probably a huge chunk of them that just didn't send the questionnaire.
Well, Lucian LePay,
maybe they were too drunk to fill out the questionnaire.
Well, Lucian LePay didn't do a questionnaire. He went out and actually took blood samples.
Well, there you go.
He just went out to emergency rooms and took blood samples, and he found that 52% of them were intoxicated on alcohol, street drugs, and prescription drugs based on blood samples, not random, not surveys. So I'll believe Lucian LePay. Thank you so much, Doug. Just bringing it up. Let me tell you, doctors are the most dangerous people on earth. They are the biggest single cause of death of Americans, medical doctors. We'll be back after these messages. Okay, Doug, let's go to callers.
Let's go to Washington State. And Kathy, you're on with Dr. Wallach.
Hello, Kathy. You're on the air.
Hi, Dr. Wallach.
Hi, how can I help you?
I have a lot of problems. Thanks for your Dead Doctors Don't Lie. That has opened my eyes to a lot of things. I definitely looks like I have a deficiency in copper because I have all of the symptoms. I also have leaky guts, and my hair is falling out. My temperature is extremely low. My skin is dry. I don't think I'm absorbing my nutrition, but I'm really concerned about my deficiency in the copper because I do have...
Okay, I missed that. You're concerned about what?
The low copper because I do have a brain aneurysm.
Okay. All right. And let's see here. Do you have anything else like diabetes or heart disease, high blood pressure?
No.
Okay. Now, when you were a kid, did you have chronic bronchitis or asthma?
Strange allergies that they couldn't figure out what they were, and they didn't test right.
Okay. Now, did you have stomach pain when you were a kid? Did you ever complain to your mom? Did your stomach hurt you all the time?
All the time. Constantly had problems with food.
Yeah. Now, did you ever have constipation where you needed laxatives or fiber?
A lifetime of chronic problems, yes.
Okay. Well, guess what? You have a gluten intolerance. You're gluten intolerant. You must get off of gluten as soon as you hang up here. You need to get off of you need to get it out of the house. No wheat, barley, rye, or oats. You must live like an Oriental. Your basic root problem is that you're a gluten intolerant. You ever been diagnosed with colitis or irritable bowel syndrome or anything?
Yes.
Okay, well, how did I know that? Isn't that funny? A lot of giveaways.
You know everything.
Well, I don't know everything, but I'm a very good diagnostician. Yeah, the dry skin, leaky gut, alopecia, loss of hair, white hair. You said all of the symptoms, so I assume it ranged from spider veins all the way up to aneurysms. And dry skin, constipation. And I'm asking questions, just putting more and more pebbles on the pan of the scale here. And you have very advanced gluten intolerance. You must get off of gluten. No wheat, barley, rye, or oats. The more of that stuff you eat, the quicker you're going to get really, really sick and die. Okay, I can't say it another way. So you must, people you associate with, you cannot wash their clothes with yours if they're eating gluten, because you get the crumbs on it, and that gluten gets, the warm water that you wash your clothes with gets in your clothes, and then it gets against your skin. Gluten is hidden in everything. It's in processed meats. They use wheat as a filler. It's very cheap. They use wheat to thicken tomato soup, gravies, soy sauce, breadcrumbs, and meatloaf. Wheat, barley, rye, and oats is in everything, including beer, scotch, and bourbon. So hang on. I'll give you a diet, Kathy, and also a supplement program to solve all your problems after these messages. Okay, let's see here, Doug. We're going right back to Washington and Kathy. Okay. Goes like this. Absolutely no gluten, no wheat, barley, rye, or oats. No fried foods whatsoever. No exceptions. Absolutely no oils. No exceptions. That means mayonnaise, margarines, salad dressings, cooking oils. If you're going to eat canned fish, they have to be packed in water or mustard or tomato sauce. They cannot be packed in oils. Absolutely no processed meats with nitrates and nitrites. Not only the nitrates and nitrites create inflammation in your body, but they use a lot of wheat as fillers, so you can't have that. You have to go start shopping in gluten-free aisles in grocery stores and so forth. Just about every grocery store has gluten-free aisles now, because 30 to 80% of every community, depending on the community, has gluten intolerance in it because of doctors misleading people, restricting salt. You must salt your food. You must produce stomach acid to break down proteins. Otherwise, you're going to get lots of these weird allergies you've been talking about. If you have any children, they're going to have to do the same thing. You have any brothers and sisters, they're going to have to do the same thing, and their children will have to do the same thing. Otherwise, they will lose 25 to 50 healthy years off their life. I mean, seriously. Now, the supplement program depends on your weight. How much do you weigh, Kathy?
120.
Okay. So what I want you to do, in addition to this dietary change, which must be immediate, start tonight, I want you to take one Healthy Start pack per month. That'll allow you to have 1 tablespoon, which is a half ounce, of the Osteo FX Plus at breakfast and dinner. 1 scoop of the Beyond Tangerine NutriCrystals at breakfast and dinner. The 3 EFA pluses will be that daily dose. You have 1 at breakfast, 1 at lunch, 1 at dinner. Spread them out, and all that will be accomplished with 1 Healthy Start pack per month. Then, what I want you to do is take 2 selenium twice a day. That's 1 bottle a month of our Ultimate Selenium, and we, for a variety of reasons, including the fact that it has extra copper in it. And you'll begin to see in a couple of weeks, depending on if how badly your intestines are damaged. It might take you 60 days, 90 days, 120 days. It might take you 6 months to totally repair those intestines. They are repairable, but it's going to take some time. And if you've been busy eating lots of vegetables and very little grain, you'll heal quicker. But if you've been eating a lot of whole grains in your life trying to get healthy, then it's going to take a little bit longer to heal, but you will heal. Then I want you to take the de-stress capsules, 3 of those twice a day. It's 2 bottles a month of the de-stress capsules, 2 bottles a month of the selenium. Then I want you to also take the, let's see here, I want you to take the glucogel. I want you to take 5 of those twice a day, 5 at breakfast, 5 at dinner. That'll require 2 of the large 240-count bottles per month of the glucogel capsules. And then I want you to call me every 2 weeks because I want you to be one of my poster girls here, Kathy. I want you to give us a report every 2 weeks. I want you to write down everything that's bothering you. You've been giving me a little bit of a list here, but I want you to write down every little thing. You know, my little finger, I can't quite close it all the way. I can't flex it all the way and touch the palm of my hand. Whatever it is, write it all down. And then, you know, I've got 2 wrinkles underneath my right eye and all this weird stuff. Anything that you can notice, write down. I have to take naps a half hour after meals. I want you to write it down. And then look at that every time you call me in 2 weeks and say, hey, this one's getting better. This one's staying the same. This one's actually, I don't know if it's my imagination. Maybe this one's getting better. I want to know your weight and your blood pressure. And we'll be back after these messages.
Let's head to the Show Me State in Missouri. And Lucille, you're on with Dr. Wallach.
Well, Lucille, you're on the air.
Hi, do you know, I've got a couple questions if you've got time. Do you know if you can rebuild teeth?
You can rebuild the dentine in a teeth. The enamel takes a little bit of work, although there are some sources of calcium you can take and just use them as kind of a mouthwash and begin to rebuild the enamel. Dentine is easy to rebuild. If you rebuild dentine, it'll actually push fillings out of the teeth and fill up the hole with dentine. Not as hard as enamel, but it's doable.
Okay.
Okay.
And which calcium would that be?
Okay, well, here's what I suggest. Number 1, I have to know what other problems you have. Is this yourself you're talking about?
Actually, it's my husband. He was the one that you met him here in Missouri when you were here. He had the skin problems, and he's like 34, and he's got some teeth that has good cavities. I don't know.
Okay. Does he have fillings in them, or are there cavities that are not filled?
They're fillings, yes.
Okay. So, yeah, I wouldn't have them removed, but what will happen is if he does what I tell him, there's a high probability, not 100%, but a high probability that the dentine growing in the tooth will push the fillings out. And then, of course, if the hole is big before the dentine grows up to the top of the tooth, the crown of the tooth, you're going to have to get one of those temporary dental repair kits to fill in that hole and keep filling up until the dentine reaches the surface of the crown of the tooth. And basically, how much does your husband weigh?
About 175.
175. Does he have any other health problems, diabetes, arthritis?
Probably he's got grinding in his knees.
Okay, well, that's arthritis. All right, 175. But what I'd do is get him off all the bad stuff. And in his case, no carbonated drinks with meals, an hour before, during, an hour afterwards, even ones that you think of as being benign like diet sodas and club soda, Perrier water, Pellegrino water, nothing carbonated. And then no fried foods of any kind, no exceptions, no processed meats with nitrates, nitrites, no exceptions, and absolutely no oils, no exceptions. Then I would give him 2 Healthy Start packs per month. That will allow him to have 1 ounce of the Osteo FX Plus liquid mineral blend, and calcium and vitamin D3 and glucosamine and chondroitin and sulfate, all that stuff, extra strontium, all in one product. I'd have him take 1 ounce of that twice a day. 2 scoops of the Viante Tangerine NutriCrystals at breakfast and dinner. 3 of the EFA Pluses at breakfast and dinner. All that will be accomplished by the 2 Healthy Start packs per month. I'd also have him get an extra bottle of the Osteo FX Plus so he can take 1/3 ounce of the Osteo FX Plus at bedtime with a glass of water. Then I would have him get the De-Stress capsules, 3 of those twice a day. That's 2 bottles a month. And I would have him take the Ultimate Selenium, 3 of those twice a day. That's 2 bottles a month. And let's start there. Oh, I need throw in one other thing. That's the Glucogel. I want to have him get 2 of the large 240-count bottles of Glucogel because I want him to have 15 capsules a day, 5 at breakfast, 5 at lunch, 5 at dinner. And again, that will be accomplished by the 2 large 240-count bottles of Glucogel. And all that's designed to support and promote maintenance, repair of cartilage, ligaments, tendons, connective tissue, which teeth is connective tissue, disc between the vertebrae, bone matrix, bone itself. And have him make a list of his symptoms. Maybe low back problems, what his blood pressure is he overweight for his height, that kind of stuff. All the little things, and make a note of them. Then every 2 weeks, actually go back and examine it. The blood pressure, weight, the symptoms he wrote down, like noisy, grinding knees, going up steps, and so forth. All right. Now, did you have a second question?
Yes. Do you know what Rhineneck is, like torticollis?
Rhineneck?
Right.
Yeah. Well, Rhineneck is actually caused by one of 2 things. It can actually be caused by a degenerative disc disease where the vertebrae getting closer together and they're squishing the roots of the spinal nerves coming out from the vertebrae and the neck and the upper back, resulting in the neck being brought over to one side because it's kind of like sciatica and restless leg syndrome down in the lumbar area of the back. It can also be caused by muscle cramping because there's not enough calcium being taken in. And this can be caused by muscle cramping, especially if they'll get Rhineneck for an hour during the day, and then the muscles relax and it goes back to normal. And then 2 or 3 times a day, it will do that. But if it's constant, there's a nerve being squished somewhere. Okay. And again, they would want to take the Healthy Bone and Joint pack, stay away from all the bad stuff. Make sure they're getting plenty of that Glucogel. If they're an adult, it would be 10 to 15 Glucogel capsules depending on their body weight. Give me a call every 2 weeks and bring me up to date, Lucille. Okay, Doug, let's go to callers.
Let's head to Nebraska. And Olive, you're on with Dr. Wallach.
Well, Olive, you're on the air.
Hi, Dr. Wallach.
Hi.
Hi. I had a mammogram last month, and they found a tumor, and I had an ultrasound and a biopsy, and they found a little bit of cancer, so now I've got breast cancer. Talked to the surgeon a few days ago, and he thought, well, just have it removed and have some, not chemo, radiation. I saw the oncologist, and he's telling me that he'd like to do 16 weeks of chemotherapy.
Well, of course he would.
And the side effects and reading all about it sounds awful, and I would love to do. I wish I knew some alternative, healthier way to maybe get rid of this.
Yeah, well, there's alternatives you can do by themselves. There's alternatives you can do in conjunction with medical treatment. So you ultimately will have to make that decision. Okay, that's one that everybody has to make their own decision on that one because everything's iffy when you start dealing with cancer. Prevention of cancer is easy. Once you get cancer, then you got a life-threatening situation on your hand, and so everybody must make their own decision on this. But there are groups of people called cancer victors and friends, people who've been told they need 16 rounds of chemotherapy and they chose not to do it, and 35 years later they're still alive, and the doctor who told them that died at 56. Okay, and so it's not cast in iron or concrete that you have to follow what they say. But you do have to do something. You can't just do nothing. Okay? And so it goes like this. What do you weigh, Olive?
About 5'1", about 200, though in the last 2 weeks I've lost 7 pounds.
Yeah, well, you're going to lose some weight just because of, the stress and concern here, okay? But here it goes. You need to get rid of the bad stuff that actually caused the cancer. No fried foods whatsoever. I mean, absolutely no fried foods, not even a crouton. Can't have any fried potatoes, fried eggs, chicken fried steak, no fried fish, no fried shrimp. I mean, no fried calamari, no fried eggplant, no fried rice, no stir fry, even extra virgin olive oil. All that's got to go away. So, no carbonated drinks during meals. No processed meats with nitrates, nitrites. Hang on, I'll come back with a supplement program, which you can use by itself or with medical treatment, whichever you choose. We'll be back after these messages. We're back with Dead Doctors Don't Lie on the ZBS Radio Network. Dr. Joel Wallach for FDI Longevity and 90 for Life Crusade. And, Doug, we're going right back to Nebraska. And Olive, what I want to do is give you a program like this. And again, I would really investigate the medical side. And we also have a CD set called The Juice Cures. I interviewed a guy by the name of Jay Cordish, who was the world's expert in juicing and sort of juice treatments for cancer and so on. So you may want to get that. It's a 2 CD set called The Juice Cures. Anyway, the supplement program I'd recommend goes like this for for a 211-pound person. I would have you take 2 Healthy Start packs per month, 1 full dose of each of the 3 products at breakfast and dinner. That's 1 ounce of the OsteoFX Plus at breakfast and dinner, 2 scoops of the Ontane Tangerine NutriCrystals at breakfast and dinner, 3 of the EFA Pluses at breakfast and dinner. All that will be accomplished by the 2 Healthy Start packs per month. I'd have you take 9 of the selenium, 3 at breakfast, 3 at lunch, 3 at dinner. That's 3 bottles per month. I want you to get your ORAC points, your antioxidant points, above 100,000 a day. You can do that with the Cell Shield RTQ and the Triple Treat and or Triple Truffle chocolates. And it'd be about 8 to 10 capsules a day of the Cell Shield RTQ and 6 to 8 pieces of the chocolate. Now, I would also take 3 ounces a day of the Z Radical. Z Radical is a blend of super juices, and it has 50 milligrams of Fucoid Z or fucoidin in it per ounce. So if you take 3-4 ounces a day, that's going to give you anywhere from 150 to 200 milligrams of the fucoidin per day. And it supports the immune system. The selenium supports your immune system. And that's the direction I would go. But it's equally important to stay away from the bad stuff because that's what got you into trouble. If you do these things, it will support your immune system, which is your best friend when you have cancer. People do survive breast cancer, but you have to work at it. It's got to be something you do every day. Whether or not you do a lumpectomy and whether or not your breast cancer is the size of the head of a pin or a head of like a pea or a grape or a small plum or whatever, you and the doctor together will have to decide whether or not you're going to do a lumpectomy or leave it in there. But when a doctor comes right out of the chute and says, "Okay, I'm going to put you on 16 weeks of chemotherapy," of course, he's talking about making you an ATM machine, in my belief system, that he's going to turn you into an ATM machine, and just you either have good insurance or he feels you have some assets and he wants to get them. Okay, that'd be my guess. Ask him how many people has he cured using this system. You want to know what percentage of cure rate does he have for this. And I mean, adding 25 years to somebody's life, not a 5-year cure rate, because you can have somebody with terminal illness living in a nursing home with an IV and a G-tube for 5 years, and they consider that a cure, even if you're unconscious. And so I'm highly suspect of somebody when they say, "Oh, yeah, well, we're going to just put you right on 16 weeks of chemotherapy." And that to me, right, is a no right out of the box there. At any rate, call me. Let me know what you decide when you go back to the doctor for further information. And it doesn't hurt to get a second opinion from other oncologists, cancer doctors, and that way you'll be able to make a decision based on a maximum amount of information. And again, I would urge you to read that book again if you haven't read it, Dead Doctors Don't Lie, and get a hold of the CD, The Best of Dead Doctors. There is a tract in there on cancer, that CD, and I would listen to that tract first. And again, get that CD set, Juice Cures by Jay Cordish and myself, and it'll give you some insights of your options. And then you can, with an informed set of knowledge, you can make the proper decision for yourself. Now, we've only got a few moments here, and I'm well, there it is. And I'm just going to remind everybody, go ahead and call your FDI Longevity Associate and say, okay, I want to be in this thing. I need to help myself and the people I care about. I need to know how to become an associate, get the wholesale prices, and save ourselves. Okay, thank you, everybody. Really great questions and testimonies today. Thank you so much, Doug and Easton. Superlative job as usual. God bless each and every one of you. God bless our troops. God bless our Navy SEALs, and God bless America.